For years, a convenient caricature of Gen Z in East and Southeast Asia has circulated among older elites. They have been written off as a quiet, disengaged cohort, content to let their parents cover the rent, while they focus on building their personal brands. This chart illustrates Vietnam's young, unemployed demographic. In late 2025, roughly 1.4 million young people, aged 15 to 24, fell into the NEET category, meaning they were not in employment, education, or training. To institutional observers, this massive block reinforced the assumption of political apathy. On May 30, 2025, a white BMW X3 crossed into the oncoming lane on Hanoi's Nguyen Huy Tu Street. The vehicle collided head-on with a motorbike, striking an 18-year-old girl named Mina. She died from her injuries a week later, right before her high school graduation exams. The driver was Nguyen C. Quoc, a powerful former deputy of the National Assembly. What happened next turned a localized tragedy into a nationwide collision between a 20th-century censorship apparatus and a highly educated digital native demographic. The state media machinery immediately went to work. Local news outlets ran the story exactly once. They referred to the driver only by his initials, blurred his license plate, and then they dropped the case completely. No trial was held, and no official updates were published. For 14 straight months, the domestic press maintained an absolute media blackout regarding the crash. 10 months into the silence, the driver's wife, Lam Thi Phuong Ten, was promoted to Minister of Culture, Sports, and Tourism. The authorities operated under the assumption that without authorized coverage, the story would simply fade away. But social media algorithms behave differently. They thrive on anomalies and unexplained gaps in information. To the young people occupying those digital spaces, a 14-month silence from state media did not look like a successfully contained story. It looked like hard evidence of a cover-up. By applying an outdated censorship playbook to a hyper-connected network, the state created a massive pressure vacuum. It only needed a spark to explode. By August 2026, the story breached containment. A decentralized campaign surged across the platform threads, generating over 1 million posts about the crash within a matter of days. Institutional observers panicked. They assumed this volume of coordination required sophisticated artificial intelligence tools, deepfake broadcasts, or foreign-operated bot networks. A closer look at the actual data tells a much more grounded story. The mobilization was driven by ordinary named accounts, utilizing a tactic called plain text fact stacking. By avoiding flashy graphics and sticking to simple text, users easily bypassed the state's optical character recognition and keyword filters. Young users simply laid out the raw connections in screenshot-friendly formats. They posted the exact dates of the crash side by side with the specific date of the minister's political promotion. One post with nearly 30,000 likes connected the case to a completely unrelated rap album censorship controversy happening that exact same week. It pointed out the glaring hypocrisy. Culture regulators moved fast to censor art, but had sat in silence for over a year regarding a fatal crash involving the culture minister's own husband. A centralized censorship machine is built to stop organized resistance. It completely failed to stop a decentralized swarm armed only with raw timelines and screenshots. The youth achieved this massive reach through platform arbitrage. In a digital context, this is the practice of users moving fluidly across different social networks, the exact moment one platform becomes restricted. When the Ministry of Culture officially requested Meta to block specific threads posts inside Vietnam, users immediately screenshotted the restriction notices and posted them straight to TikTok. The act of censorship itself became the viral payload. The state tried to lock down physical spaces too. When mourners gathered to lay white flowers at the actual crash site on Nguyen Huy Tu Street, municipal authorities quickly cleared the bouquets and posted guards. The youth responded by digitizing the landmark. They created an indelible digital monument by renaming the site KBMW NSC 30525 on Google Maps, flooding it with hundreds of reviews that physical street sweepers couldn't touch. Every reflexive attempt to erase the evidence, whether clearing physical flowers or issuing digital block notices, acted as a multiplier, giving the movement endless momentum. Overwhelmed by the digital storm, the state capitulated. On August 17th, state television officially named the driver. However, the broadcast deployed Article 260 as a legal shield, announcing he was exempt from criminal liability due to a valid license, no alcohol, and paid compensation. The broadcast also highlighted that Mina's grieving father had signed a waiver, pleading on camera for the online community to stop talking about the case so his family could find peace. The authorities tried to frame the incident strictly as a resolved private legal dispute. But to the young people watching, the legal conclusion was no longer the primary issue. The 14-month information vacuum had transformed a traffic accident into a massive crisis of public trust. By answering a demand for transparency with a technical legal exemption, the authorities completely missed the point of the digital uprising. The mechanics of this digital uprising echo the events of France in May 1968. A rigid, entrenched establishment dismissed its massive youth population as comfortable and self-absorbed, right up until that youth cohort bypassed state media and brought the country to a standstill. And Tree 55 is not an isolated anomaly. The exact same tactics have already surfaced in subsequent controversies, from an exam fraud scandal in Tuan Quang province to ongoing disputes over artistic censorship. This is the new reality of modern attention economics. A highly educated demographic with zero budget can force uncomfortable issues onto the national agenda, simply by deciding a cause is worth the effort to coordinate. The Tree 55 incident serves as a durable blueprint. It proves that in an era of algorithmic literacy, no institution can maintain a monopoly on the truth simply by staying silent.